Allocation plans are a useful tool for managing inventory across sites and avoiding oversold conditions. Allocation plans are only available in the Enterprise editions of SixBit. Allocation plans appear as a site-specific tab within the item window. There are many different types of allocation plans to choose from. First, we'll take a look at the preset allocations. The keep one item listed as fixed price allocation will always keep an item listed as long as there is uncommitted inventory. The keep all inventory listed as fixed price allocation will keep all uncommitted inventory listed, whether that is 2 items or 20. The split inventory between sites allocation will keep inventory listed while split between different sites. This allocation is a bit different than most and requires the allocation plan to be set on both sites. Additionally, a minimum of 2 inventory is required in order to use this plan. 1 inventory for each site being used. Allocation plans are required for any listings on Shopify. The keep an auction always listed allocation will keep an auction listing running as long as there is uncommitted inventory for that item. Now that we have covered the preset options, let's take a look at manually entering allocations. When entering a manual allocation plan, you will see a basic allocation plan menu that you can customize to your needs. All allocations require uncommitted inventory. First, you must decide whether you will be listing a fixed price listing or an auction. If you are listing an auction, choosing the relist auctions when they end option will have the same effect as the keep an auction always listed allocation plan. If you are listing a fixed price listing, checking the relist/revise fixed price listings box will reveal more options to choose from. The keeping a constant quantity listed option allows you to set a quantity of items that will always stay listed. This option is the same as the keep one item listed as fixed price allocation when the quantity is set to 1. You can set this allocation to keep any quantity of items listed. Let's say you have 10 items in stock, but you only wanted to keep 3 listed to create an artificial scarcity. You could set the allocation plan to keep only 3 items listed at a time. You can also use this allocation between sites. Say you had 10 items and wanted to keep 3 listed on each site. You would need to set up the allocation plan in each site tab and check the end listings when out of stock option to avoid oversold conditions. You also have the option to decrement the price when relisting items without a sale. You can decrement the price by a fixed amount or by a percentage each time a listing ends without a sale. You can also set up a floor price that SixBit will never list below. When setting up allocation plans to always keep more than 1 item listed at a time, it is a good idea to keep a quantity held in reserve to avoid an oversold condition. You can set the quantity held in reserve at the bottom of the Allocation Plan tab. If you are selling a large amount of items, using the Keeping All Uncommitted Inventory Running allocation is a great way to ensure that those items are always listed. You can use the Splitting Uncommitted Inventory Between Selected Sites allocation to maintain listings on multiple sites without the risk of overselling items. If an item was listed on both eBay and Etsy with only 1 item in stock, it could sell on both sites before SixBit has refreshed, causing an oversold condition. The splitting inventory allocation prevents this by requiring more than 1 item to be in stock. The inventory is then split between the sites instead of both sites using the same inventory. The end listings when out of stock option is useful when listing low quantities of items, especially between different sites. Say you have a unique one-of-a-kind item that you would like to list between eBay, Etsy, and Shopify. You can set an allocation plan on all 3 sites to keep a constant quantity of 1 listed with the option to end listings when out of stock checked. This would allow the item to be listed on all 3 sites, and the listings would all end if the item is sold on one of the sites. Let's take a closer look at decrementing the price. When a listing ends without a sale, this allocation will automatically adjust the price down until the item sells or it hits the floor price. You can decrement the price by a fixed amount, say $1, or by a percentage, say 5%, each time the listing ends without a sale. The But Never Go Below option allows you to set the floor price for the item. Say you have a listing priced at $25, but you would accept a sale at $20. You could set the floor price to $20 and start the listing at $25, decrementing down to $20 in the event that no sales occur. You can keep inventory held in reserve to prevent oversold conditions or create an artificial scarcity by setting the quantity held in reserve field. Once you are satisfied with your allocation plan, you can save it as a preset allocation using the Save as Preset button in the top right of the Allocation Plan tab. After clicking the Save as Preset button, you will be prompted to enter a name for the preset. Once you have named the preset, press the Enter key and you have successfully saved a new allocation plan. You can edit allocation plan presets using the Edit Preset button to the right of the preset dropdown. You can also manage all of your allocation plan presets via the Manage Presets button next to the Edit Preset button. The Manage Allocation Plans window allows you to duplicate plans, rename or delete plans, and reorder plans. You can organize the allocation plan list by moving the plans up or down and by sorting A to Z or Z to A. Users can set out-of-stock control on their eBay account. With out-of-stock control turned on, listings that run down to zero available inventory will remain running. When a listing runs out of stock, it will either move to the completed or the out-of-stock substatus. The main difference is that items moved to out-of-stock will be reactivated according to the assigned allocation plan when the stock is replenished, and items moved to completed will not. The end listings when out-of-stock allocation will override the out-of-stock control and end listings when the available inventory reaches zero. Allocation plans will not start automatically after being added to an item. It is important to understand that an allocation plan will not list an item initially. It will only relist or revise an existing listing. The initial submission must be made by the seller, and then SixBit will maintain the inventory or relist it as it has been specified. Any changes to your inventory will require SixBit to reallocate inventory to one or more sites based on the allocation plans that have been set. These actions are known as allocation triggers. Allocation triggers include an item being sold, a listing ends without a sale, inventory quantity is changed, and changing an allocation plan. Whenever a fixed price or auction listing is sold on an e-commerce site, the next SixBit refresh will record the sale and trigger SixBit to reallocate the remaining uncommitted inventory. Additionally, if an over-the-counter sale is recorded in SixBit, a reallocation will occur. If the uncommitted inventory becomes zero, all listings with an allocation plan will be ended. Whenever a listing ends without a sale, SixBit will check to see if a relist should be submitted. For example, if a fixed price listing ends without a sale and it has been indicated that a constant quantity of 1 should always be relisted, SixBit will submit a new listing. If the item was listed at $10 and it was indicated that the price should be lowered by $1 until it reaches $8, the price on the new listing will be $9. If the inventory on an item changes due to anything other than a sale, SixBit will also reallocate the uncommitted inventory. This includes the user manually recording new inventory purchases, the user manually removing inventory, the user processing a return which puts items back into the inventory, the user processing a canceled order which puts items back into the inventory, and the inventory quantity being changed through a CSV or XML import. Similarly, if you are a dropshipper who gets inventory updates daily, you can import the new inventory quantities using the inventory import, and it will trigger SixBit to automatically update the quantities on the applicable sites. When an item with a plan of keep all uncommitted inventory listed has its inventory changed from 5 to 15, SixBit will automatically bump the quantity in your listing to 15. When manual inventory changes result in an inventory quantity of 0, all listings with an allocation plan will be ended. If the allocation plan assigned to an item is changed, saving that item will trigger a reallocation on all applicable sites. This includes changing the plan on individual items or by using the bulk change feature. If many reallocations must be performed, for example, a CSV import just changed inventory quantities on 500 items, then the reallocations may take a while. This means that reallocations will not always be instantaneous when a trigger occurs. There are some manual operations that could be performed that will contradict the allocation plan. When this occurs, SixBit turns off parts of the allocation plan for that item on that site. The allocation plan will need to be reset in order for the automatic allocation to continue. Manually ending an item or manually changing the quantity listed will turn off allocation plans for those items. If an item is manually ended from within SixBit, then obviously there was a reason and you certainly do not want SixBit relisting the item again. Therefore, whenever a listing is manually ended, SixBit will turn off automatic reallocation for the item for that site and format. If the item used a named allocation plan, a manual plan will be created and assigned to the item with the proper settings. If the quantity listed is manually changed, it may contradict the allocation plan and require it to be turned off. Say you have an allocation plan set to keep a quantity of 5 always listed for an item, then manually change the quantity listed to 3 and revise the listing. You would be contradicting the allocation plan. If SixBit left the allocation plan assigned to that item, the next time a trigger event occurred on that item, SixBit would restore the quantity listed to 5. Since you clearly wanted 3 listed, it does not make sense for SixBit to continue to apply any allocation plan. Therefore, anytime you manually revise the quantity from the SixBit revise listing window, the allocation plan for that site and that listing format will be turned off. If you happen to be changing the quantity listed on an item that has an allocation plan that splits inventory across multiple sites, then the allocation plan will be turned off for all sites that the inventory is split across. You will need to reset the allocation plan in order for it to be active again. Every 60 seconds, the SixBit agent will run and perform any pending reallocations. There may be times when you want to force an allocation to occur so you can instantly see the results. For example, if you change your inventory quantities and you want to make sure they are going to be updated on the site, you might want to just force the reallocation now so you do not have to wait 60 seconds to see the result. To manually trigger allocations, open Sell Items mode, then from the ribbon bar, click the drop-down arrow under the Manage button in the inventory group. For the allocations to occur immediately for all items that have been flagged as needing reallocation, click Reallocate Now. To force the selected items to be reallocated regardless of whether they have been flagged as needing reallocation, click Force Reallocation for the selected items. There may be a time that you need to suspend automatic allocations. Say you are in the process of entering or modifying a large number of listings and you do not want any auto-relisting to occur until you are finished with all of your changes. In order to suspend all automatic allocation plan options, go to File, Options, select the Refreshes tab, and check the Suspend All Automatic Variation Updates and Allocation Plan Actions box. Mastering allocation plans will enable you to manage your listings and inventory more efficiently.